About 1.2 million Indians volunteered to fight for the British Indian Army in World War I, making them the largest volunteer army in the Great War. While Sikhs were only 2% of India's population, 22% of the British Indian Army were Sikhs. In World War I and II, 83,005 Sikhs were killed and 109,045 wounded fighting for the Allied forces. Sikhs continue to serve proudly in the Australian Defence Force today. The Indian Expeditionary Force that served in the Dardanelles was not very large in numbers, 5,000 men in a campaign that swelled from 75,000 to nearly 500,000 Allied troops by the end. Yet it had a significant impact upon the course of the operations, and no account of the campaign can ignore the contribution of the 14th Sikhs in the Third Battle of Krithia. However, despite the fact that they served with honor at Gallipoli, not just with, but as a part of, the Anzacs from August onwards, this contribution has been relegated largely to a passing mention in most accounts of the campaign. It was sorely tried but emerged from the fray with credit, having suffered a total of 4,130 casualties during the campaign. In the Gallipoli campaign, the 14th Sikh Regiment was virtually wiped out, losing 379 officers and men in one day's fighting on June 4, 1915. Writing of the Third Battle of Krithia during the campaign, General Sir Ian Hamilton paid noble tribute to the heroism of all ranks of the 14 Sikhs. In the highest sense of the word, extreme gallantry has been shown by this fine battalion. In spite of the tremendous losses, there was not a sign of wavering all day. Not an inch of ground was given up and not a single straggler came back. The ends of the enemy trenches leading into the ravine were found to be blocked with the bodies of Sikhs and of the enemy who died fighting at close quarters, and the glassy slope is thickly dotted with the bodies of these fine soldiers all lying on their faces as they fell in their steady advance on the enemy. The history of the Sikhs affords many instances of their value as soldiers, but it may be safely asserted that nothing finer than the grim valor and steady discipline displayed by them on 4th June has ever been done by the soldiers of the Khalsa. Their devotion to duty and their splendid loyalty to their orders and to their leaders make a record their nation should look back upon with pride for many generations. During this battle, the 14 Sikhs, as part of the 29th Indian Infantry Brigade, composed entirely of seasoned Sikh soldiers from the Punjab, launched repeated attacks, in the face of murderous machine gun fire, against the Turkish positions astride Gali Ravine. Held up by the barbed wire that was unaffected by the Allied artillery bombardment, a section of men leapt the barbed wire and charged the Turks with their bayonets. However, human valor was unavailing against modern weapons of war, and on that day the battalion's casualties amounted to 82% of the men actually engaged in the battle. Only 3 British officers were left unwounded,